Alright, welcome back to the channel. Starts a new week, and this week we're going to, first thing we're going to do is get some high build urethane primer on this thing, and get the Bondo covered and all of the black epoxy primer. So let me get busy here and I'll show you what it's going to look like. So controlling dust in here is almost impossible. Got the door open and don't have it in the paint side of the building, so I'm going to take a tack rag and just try to wipe off as I go right before I spray it. About the best I can do. There's a quick look after I got all the 2K high build primer on. So now we're ready to, I'm going to jump on all over into the inside and start sanding it and prepping it for paint, and then work these door jambs. Back at it, I'm going to try to see if I can get all the door jambs sanded and the inside of the cab sanded, and then we ready to put some paint on the cab on the inside. Have all of the dash to sand, and of course all of the roof on the inside and the back, around the back glass and what you see there, and of course all of the door jambs. I do have the door jambs roughed in and primered, so hopefully won't have another coat or two on those, and we'll be in good shape there. So let's get after it and see what we can get done. All right, I'm going to use some just some 220 and dry sand this around the window frame and that, and then we'll go back and wet sand with probably 400. All right, making progress. I've got quite a bit of the inside sanded. I've got the rest of the dash stripped off, all of the controls, radio, glove box, cigarette lighter, most all of the vents out of it. So I'm going to continue on and get the rest of the top sanded and around the windshield frame, and then I'm going to try to decide if I want to just put some sealer on today or maybe wait. Just see how it goes, but still got some areas of concern on the dash, so get those fixed and then go from there. All right, I've got most of all of the inside prepped and ready for sealer, and I had a few places here. I had a little place there on the rocker and down low on the dash here that I had to address, and one place on the other rocker. So I'm going to finish sanding these out, these spots where I had to put a little filler in, and then I'm going to, I think, hold up on the truck for a little while. I have a problem. I need to get this S10 in and get it ready for the rest of the paint work on it, so I can get the painted bed out of my paint room. I can't paint this truck until I can get it in the paint room, and I don't want to paint in there with the bed in there, or I could, but I don't really want to. So I think that's what I'm going to do here in the next day or so, is try to jump on it and fix some of the dents I have left on it and get it prepped for paint. Not going to take near as many pains with it. It's just going to be a driver truck, and what few dents there are on it, I'm just going to go over and fix the main dents and scuff the whole thing off and shoot the black and clear on it. So, but I'll show you some of that too when I get it in here. I'm going to show you what I have done so far on the S10 or the C10 this week, and I'm going to stop the video on it for this week and sort of put it on pause. I've got most of the inside of the cab sanded, and of course all the outside is an epoxy prime, and then we got some high build 2K urethane primer on it also. And the inside of the cab, I have most all of it sanded with the exception of the lower part of the dash, and I had to fill a little place on it that had some rust pitting that I showed you, and just put some rust treatment on that, and then ended up putting a little bit of skim of Bondo over it. So got to sand that and work that out, and I'll show you that here in just a second. But the reason I'm going to do this is because I'm at a good stopping place on the C10, so I can actually just let it hold for a while and not have to worry about it rusting or getting flash rust on it or whatever if I have to leave it outside for a few days. But I want to get the S10 back in here and get it prepped for paint. So because I've got to paint the doghouse and the cab on it. I already have the bed done that's in the paint room, and I need to get it out of the paint room. So I figured the quickest way to get that done is to go ahead and finish up the S10 and have it complete, and then I can get back on the C10, get the paint room cleaned out good, pressure washed out, and get the inside of the cab and the door jambs painted. All right, so here's what I have done on the C10. I got all of the top prepped, ready for sealer. It's all sanded and all the way across the dash, with the exception of right down here. And this was the area that had the pitting. I don't know what happened, but some water had got down, I guess, through the corner of the windshield at one point and rusted a place right here. And there were some small pits right in the middle I couldn't get out. So what I done is sanded that, put some rust reform on it, and then put a skim of Bondo over it. And I'm going to just sand that down, and then when we shoot the sealer on there, we'll shoot a little primer over this spot before we actually paint. But everything looks good inside the cab. The cab, I mean, this is all original paint in here, and it was just, no peeling, no problem anywhere at all. So this should just seal and base, and then clear coat, should be done on the inside here with the cab. The door jambs, I've ran into a few places on it that I'm going to go back on. You can see right in here is a little area, and then down here I put just a small skim of filler over. But everything else is actually pretty good on the door jambs. Of course, these are all the original spot welds, and I'm just going to leave those because that's original to the truck. No sense of trying to fill that and make it something it's not, because that's the way they come out from the factory on that. So we're looking good on this. So I'm going to back this out and get the S10 in here. I've got to pull the grill and do some stuff on it. So we'll get started trying to get it prepped for paint, and it's going to be a quickie scuff and shoot. I have worked some dents out. I'll show you those on the truck when I get it in here on the S10. Okay, I'm going to walk you around here and I'll show you what we need to finish up on it and what we've already got done. So this dent in the hood is filled. I think one more sanding on that to get that. Had two small dents here, a couple long dents on this side. There is a place right up there on the hood that I don't know whether I'm going to mess with or not. I'm going to see what it does when I sand it. But everything else is, there's a small dent there on the door. And I think there's a couple right up in here that I'm going to have to deal with. So the lower part is pretty good. I'm not really going to worry about it from the molding there on down. I'm just going to scuff it all off and shoot that, because this is going to be a driver truck. It's not going to be a show truck. So had a dent on the door right here that I did go ahead and put some filler in. The rest of this is pretty good. I haven't started on the top, the roof part yet. Of course, the bed, we're not worrying about anything on this bed because we're not using this bed at all. So all we'll have to do is, when it comes time to paint, well, just take this bed loose and slide it back. Probably just take it off, to be honest about it. And then I'll have access to all the back here so I can get it painted. So let's get busy here. I want to pop this grill and probably the headlights back out of the truck, get it out of the way. I am going to paint the grill shell black, all but the chrome section there, and the front bumper cover, get some paint on it too, not gloss black. I'm going to paint it the color I put on the fender flares, which is a satin black. So let's get busy. So my intentions are here is just to mask off the S10 emblem and those LS emblem here on the corner of the cab. I'm not going to pull any of those because they're two-way sticky tape, and I don't see any sense. They're stuck good. I don't see any sense of doing that. The mirrors I'm not going to. I'm probably just going to fold them in like that and tape where I can paint. So under the hood, I'll probably, when I do the door jambs, I'm going to do this area here where the paint's gone, scuff it down and shoot some paint there. The rest of this, like I say, the bumper and the lower valance, I'm going to paint with the same color that I used on the fender flares on the bedside, which is that ultra matte finish. So just a rattle can paint that I'm going to put on those. So I'm going to get busy here at sanding. I want to fix those places that I bondoed, sand those with probably some 180. I didn't show you, but on the roof up here, it had those places too that I fixed, and I've got to work that down yet. But everything else is pretty much done. What I'm going to do to it. So what I'm trying to do here is use 400 on a DA sander and just go over all the clear and try to block it on that away. This truck has a lot of clear on it. I don't know. It appears to be mostly factory paint. I don't think it's had much paint work done on it anywhere. But it's got a lot of clear. It's really mealy in places, so it does look a whole lot like factory paint. I'm going to use some 180 on these spots on this hood that I put the Bondo on, and then I'm going to go back over it with 400 on a DA. I'm going to run a block over that hood there and make sure that's straight on that Bondo. A couple of low areas that I'm going to have to put a little more filler in. High, a little bit low right in there. Over here is a real low area, and a low area here, and one right in there. So blow that off and put some more filler on that. Spent quite a bit of time on this thing. Found a few more dents. Got one there on the top of the fender that I had to put some filler in. One there on the door that I put a little bit in. Got one up on the roof there that I had to fill. It's a long like dent, like a been in place. And another little spot up there. But pretty much when I get this work down, I'm going to call it ready for some sealer and just uh, finish. I got a little bit on the roof there to finish with 400, and then when I get these Bondo spots worked down, I'm gonna go over them with some probably 320 or 400 right before I put some sealer on it. Kind of skip a step in between there and use the sealer as a primer over my Bondo also, which is epoxy primer. I think it'll be fine. So a couple spots there on the back corner of the cab that I found. But all in all, that's pretty much all I'm going to intend on doing to the truck is work these places down, put some sealer on it, and then go ahead and put the base clear on it. Try to get this job done. I'm going to paint the cab of the truck, and then I'll go back and paint the front fender flares and the lower bumper valance and the bumper and the grill separately. The grill I'll probably do in gloss black. Then, of course, change out the bed. Got weather strip to put across the windshield. A few little odds and end things to finish it up. and call it done. So then we're back on to the 68, or the keep calling it a 68. Sorry about that. Then we're back on to the 86 and try to get it ready for paint inside the cab. So I'm going to make that a wrap on this week's video. I know it's been kind of a hodgepodge of stuff here, jumping back and forth, but just all of a sudden it hit me that I need to get this S10 finished up. Cold weather's coming on. It's going to sit outside and need to get some paint on it and get it ready to use. I use the 4-wheel drive on it. So we usually have some winter here in Kentucky, so 4-wheel drive will be handy for that. I've got a full-size 4-wheel drive, but I'll just leave it in the garage and use this truck. That way if I slide it off into the ditch or hit a pole or something, I haven't lost a whole lot. So thanks for watching. Thanks for all the new subscribers. Thanks for the views. Thanks for your comments. Please share and hit that like button on the video. It sure helps the algorithm on YouTube for me, and I can continue keeping on working on these old trucks and trying to make them look a little better and keep from them going to the scrap yard. That's for sure. We don't want that. Just those trucks are what I grew up with, and sort of hate to see one being discarded or scrapped out or crushed. So not too many of them left around that's not already hasn't been crushed, but there's a few still out there. Square bodies, and of course the next probably rage will be, you know, the 80s and 90s model short bed Chevys, and there's still a few of those out there to be had for those people that collect and try to gather up some stuff. But the square bodies are getting really hard to come by, and of course you get on back into the early C10s, all the way back into the 40s, 50s, 60s. It's getting pretty rough to find anything, as most of you guys know. So, but we'll keep hammering at what we have here and try to get them wrapped up. So remember, if you can't do anything else, get out in the garage and have some fun. That's what I do every week. Thanks for watching. See you.